is in the army. You might leave Mrs. Smith out altogether. If you said, if my sentence was just, the husband is in the army, you could say, the husband who is in the army. I'll show you an example of who. But as a general rule for whose two nouns follow each other. One noun describes the possession of the other noun. So how would I write this sentence? It'd be very similar to how I write.
Mrs. Smith's husband is in the army. Is staying with me.
How would I change it to one sentence and use whose?
Whose husband? Mrs. Smith.
Okay.
Mrs. Smith's husband.
So would I take off?
Yes. Apostrophe S.
Yes. So if I use whose, I take off this. So Mrs. Smith, whose husband is in the army,
is staying with
yes,
me.
is staying with me. Okay, so number three. What is the noun that starts off in number 3?
Boy.
Boy. Boy, clothes. Okay. Are there two nouns together here?
Yes.
Yes. No.
We said boy and clothes, but
One
boy and clothes aren't next to each other.
Yes. Needed.
They aren't. This is different from the top sentence because man and clothes were right next to each other. Mrs. Smith and husband were right next to each other. Boy and clothes are not next to each other.
Is boy now. Boy.
Well, yeah. We've said what the nouns are. Now we have to choose whether or not it's who or whose.
Who?
Who.
Whose.
Who. Because remember, whose is used when a noun is describing another noun. There is no noun on either side of this word that's describing the other noun. If I said the boy's clothes, then that would change, because clothes would be right next to boy. But the boy, the noun stands by itself. It's not just, there's no noun describing whose boy it is, whose clothes it is. So in this case, it would be who. For simplicity purposes, just remember the two nouns have to be next to each other.
Yes.
And they're not in this case. So if they're not, you have to use who. Remember, as you said, whose describes possession. So here, the man's clothes, Mrs. Smith's husband, the boy stands by itself. So how would I write this sentence using who? The boy
Who's needed?
who
Needed.
New clothes when shopping.
Needed.
Shopping.
Yes. So the boy who needed new clothes went shopping. that clothes is general here, in that the boy who needed new clothes went shopping. Clothes here, the way it's used in this sentence, these aren't the boy's clothes. He needs clothes, but he hasn't bought them yet, so they're not his clothes. So he needed to buy new clothes. But these clothes, the way it's used in this sentence, they're not his yet. He hasn't bought them, so they're not his clothes. So this isn't possessive of that, because these aren't his clothes. He needs to buy them, but they're not his. What about 4? What are the nouns? First of all, what are the nouns in number 4?
Students.
So students. So yeah, and here it's students. So again, first rule. Students. If there's only one noun here, who? Remember the rule, whose, 2 nouns have to be next to each other. Who, only one noun, stands by itself. We've only identified one noun, so if we've only identified one noun, then it has to be who. So how would I write this sentence? Yeah. Do you want to guess? So the word needs to immediately follow the noun.
The student work hard. Who are?
No, so who needs to follow it directly after the noun? So the noun is students. Yeah, the students. So we who work hard. Who said it?
Our user.
Yes. So the students who work hard are usually successful.
Teacher, for example, which, if you
For
wish,
which? Yeah, I'll show some examples of which. Yeah,
which.
sure.
Teacher, the pronunciation successful.
Oh yeah,
Successful.
So, okay, the way I would write it, just to this is not how you write it, but so suck. Successful. So suck.
Successful.
Yes.
Successful.
Because there is that K, well, there's not a K, but there's a K sound. Clear as mud. So suck.
Shut.
So suck.
Shut.
Not shut. Shut. No.
This is soft. Like an S.
Yeah, okay.
You are not tired, so hard for you.
มันแล้วแต่ภาษาอังกฤษที่บ้านมันออกเสียงมันผิดมาก
Any questions on any of?
ก่อน
I know this is.
ก่อนนี้ไม่ได้
I know this can be kind of confusing,
ไม่ถึง
but again, as a general rule, I would just remember whose is possessive. In other words, a noun describes
Somebody or something's now.
yes, somebody's or something's noun. we'll go through a few more examples.
Yeah.
การออกเสียงมันผิดมากการออกเสียงที่บ้านมันผิดมากมันเหนือที่เขาเริ่มสอน
การออกเสียงของครู
ไม่ที่บ้านผมนี่ไงอาจารย์ผมไม่เคยเรียนภาษาอังกฤษตั้งนานแล้วผมเพิ่งมาเรียน2-3 ปีนี่เองที่บ้านผมเรียนธรรมะวินัยก็เรียนอย่างเดียวก็เรียนภาษาอังกฤษเป็นนักบวชเลยพูดได้รู้เรื่องแต่ไวยากรณ์นี่มันลื่นมากไวยากรณ์นี่ผมไปเรียนการบ้านตกไวยากรณ์
ไม่ได้ถามแค่ว่าไม่ได้
พูดได้พอจะไม่พูดไป
ผมอยากในกรรมมานะเพราะว่าเราเรียนมหาลัยเราทางบ้านมันกรรมมาอย่างเดียวเลยที่สารยาที่มหาลัยส่ง